My station wagon was totaled. I was at the flat of the station wagon and no seat belts with other luggage, so I kind of flew to the back of the front seat. So that's how I sustained my broken neck. I had a C2-3 fractures and plus a brain injury. So I was in a coma for 16 days. I had definitely poor concentration, poor short-term memory, poor and difficult with planning, organizing, things like that. My balance was off. Coordination was off. I developed a lazy eye. I was very childlike.
The Arrowsmith program was developed about 37 years ago based on the principles of neuroplasticity and the understanding that we can actually change cognitive function. Originally, it was developed for individuals struggling with specific learning difficulties, but over the years, we've had people walk through the door that have had traumatic brain injury.
I got involved with the Arrowsmith program about a year ago. They came to me because they had started to look at the results of the Arrowsmith in children with learning disabilities, and they were interested now in expanding this to looking at people who had a traumatic brain injury. So they asked me to design a study, which I did, to look at how the brain changes, both in terms of the structure of the brain and the function of the brain, and importantly, how these changes in the brain correspond with changes in behavior.
The Arrowsmith Rehabilitation Program doesn't take a compensatory approach to addressing people's cognitive weaknesses. Instead, our approach is focused on increasing cognitive capacity through repetitive exercises that are aimed at improving reasoning, memory, concentration, and symbol recognition. For example, in one of the exercises, a clock face flashes across the computer screen, and students have to analyze the relationship between the hands. Then it gets more difficult, and we add more hands. In another one of the exercises, students are presented with a sequence of unfamiliar symbols, and students have to replicate the sequence of those symbols. Students do this 4 days per week, 3 hours per day, for between 3 and 6 months. This is tough, even tedious work.
One of the important factors here is that we're looking at outcomes or change at several different levels. Okay, so this isn't a study that's just, for example, looking at the cognitive changes and nothing else. In conjunction with that, we have these promising new imaging kinds of techniques that are also being conducted before and after participation in the program. And so what that allows us to do is to look at, the brain level and the behavioral level and see if there's any correspondence between the two.
Ever since my brain injury, my thinking was kind of like cloudy and slow. But 6 months after doing this program at UBC, I'm finding my thinking is a lot more clearer and a lot more faster.
It does take time to form those new neural pathways. So the benefits that we are seeing are good, but it's still early. And I think by furthering the research and having new participants come and doing more imaging, I think it can greatly improve the amount of knowledge that we have.
It's not a drug, it's just cognitive training with Arrowsmith. And if we do see a difference, it'll be spectacular.